we don't learn in the good times. We really learn in the hard times. I learned how to deal with corruption. I actually was ripped off. But one thing that I have really tried to do is really understand the value of a follower. Like there's an epidemic of like mental health. You know, they say you want to have 7 streams of income or so, right?
Hello, guys. This is the Sphere of Influence podcast with your host, truly, Monie. And today I have joining me, Julien Cameron. Thank you so much, Julien, for joining me. I really appreciate you taking the time to be here with me. For the people that don't know you, do you mind just giving a little quick intro about you?
So a little about me. I'm involved in different things. I'm a content creator. I'm a real estate investor. I'm a success coach. I'm also a licensed minister at my local ministry. By trade, I'm a software engineer. I have different things that I have going on within the entrepreneurial sphere. I'm in the middle of building a video game that's attached to an NFT project that I launched a couple years ago. Pretty excited about that video game. It's going to be coming out on Minecraft actually later this month. It's called Lurkies. And yeah, so I got to have a lot of different things going on. And I also have a podcast myself. And so it's good to be here. Good to be here with you today, Monica.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, I did not know all that about you. That is amazing. And you say it's so like nonchalant, like just another thing that I have going on. That's amazing. So how? Well, the thing that first caught my eye, the NFTs, everything's so new with that. Like, tell me a little bit more about that. Like, how did you even get started in that? And congratulations, by the way. That's got to be something huge for you.
Yes, it is. It's definitely been a roller coaster with that. I got into NFTs how long has it been? I guess 2 years ago now. I initially jumped in when it was still pretty buzzy and kind of like the next big thing. And I started as a flipper. I would buy some and then I would flip it, and I made some pretty good profits. It was a nice thing. The only thing about that is it wasn't really a sustainable practice, because the thing about the NFT market and even the crypto market is that it's different from the stock market. The stock market has a close time. It's going to be closed, so there's no action during that time. You can go home and go to sleep and tend to your family and deal with all that stuff. But in the crypto and NFT, the market never closes.
Right.
And so there's going to be, it could be 3 a.m. and out of nowhere, prices could be booming and half the country is asleep. And you wake up and you never know what you're going to find. You could have went to sleep and you were up plus 20, and you wake up and you're down negative 20. Like, whoa, what happened within the last 7-8 hours? And so it was a really volatile, really stressful. Definitely, it was an opportunity to make some good money if you played your cards right and made the right moves and got into the right projects. But it was really something that when I began to kind of analyze some things, I was like, okay, how long can I realistically, do this? I'm staying up late, I'm waking up early, and this isn't something, because whenever I do something, I always think about how sustainable it is. How much can I maintain doing that over the course of an extended period of time. And so it came to my realization is like, okay, the only way that I'm really going to be successful within this NFT space and still manage all the other things that I have going on, because during that time I was kind of, dropping the ball in a sense in other areas of my life, because I was, my time was just all over the place. And so if I really want to come up in this, make the most of this opportunity, I'm going to have to start a project of my own. And at that point, I had already been in the NFT community for about a year. And so I kind of knew the ins and outs, and having a software development background really helped the learning curve. And so after a little bit of research and discovering what type of project I wanted to make, I made the jump. And to me, the video game style NFT projects, what at that time, I think still is the most advantageous type of NFT project to get involved with. Simply because of the future of video gaming. We're coming to a place, maybe you played video games growing up. I played video games growing up. But you have people who play all these games, and you can interrupt me at all if you ever want to, by the way.
I'm just really intrigued. I'm like, oh, you got me at the edge of my seat there.
Oh yeah. Okay, I'll keep you there. Let's keep it going. So I played video games growing up. We played our favorite video games for free. We would give our time, our lives to playing these games, and then they went online. Now it's a whole nother thing. People are building lives and communities, but really not getting anything from it except for, I don't know, notoriety within that gaming community. But there's nothing real world that they can take away. Well, gaming is about to change. It's slowly changing now. There's new concept called play to earn, P2E style gaming, where gamers can actually make money or crypto while playing the game.
That.
Yeah. And the next Grand Theft Auto 6 is actually going to be a play to earn game.
Wow.
It's going to be, there's other games out there, but that's going to be the biggest brand that comes out with it. And it's going to really revolutionize gaming forever. You're going to see people who can actually make us. I mean, if people were addicted before, it's going to be really not good now, because now you can actually make a living and not just streaming on Twitch.
Not just be a couch potato and waste your life away. Like now the parents of those kids are really not going to have any option to say like, oh, you're not doing anything with your life. Like you could actually be earning money.
Right.
Yeah, it's very interesting how technology has brought up all these different venues and just things that people could do. I know I can't remember the name of it. I want to say, for some reason, I think it's Roblox or
Roblox.
Yeah, right. So that's one of them, right? And then I've actually signed up to one where it hasn't gone into the market yet. So pre-IPO, and it had something to do with gaming, right? And online, and pretty much taking all the. This is pretty much going to be the next Netflix of gaming, right? Because you're no longer going to have to pay for those videos or CDs, and it's just everything's going to be online, right? So it's pretty interesting to see the development of that, and with everything, right? Everything is always constantly changing. Technology is just making new changes, for some good, some bad, and or some just different than what we're used to, and we just have to be able to jump in and be, just adjust to the changes and not be so thrown
Right.
back by them, and pretty much dig your heels in and not want to change. That's just part of life, change. So, but that's
Yeah. And
amazing.
look at AI, right?
Yes. Oh man, don't even get started on AI.
That's a whole
People are,
nother, whole
yeah, oh
nother.
my gosh. People, yeah, people are going nuts on AI, and I get it. It's, I think the fear of AI is, oh, it's going to take jobs from people. But the truth is, we just need to evolve with the technology. It's, if you use it to help yourself and make your life easier. For me, I'm a social media manager. Um, it's
Mm,
helped me, cut time on the things that I do. Like, you can't fully trust it to do everything, to think as a human, right?
right.
Maybe it'll get there in the future. We don't know. But at this moment, like, just take it for what it is. Right now, it is a great
Yeah.
tool to be able to incorporate into our lives. So why not take advantage and make your life easier, right?
Oh, of course. Yeah. No, I use it a lot, right? I mean, pretty much my lead generation for my coaching business is pretty much AI, generated. I've been able to set up an AI chatbot and integrate it with my Instagram. And so whenever I create content or I put out a sponsored post, when I usually have a call to action, right? Or a keyword like, oh, comment AI or comment whatever, wealth below. And if they do that, or if they DM me that word, then it kicks off the AI chatbot into gear, and it'll go into qualifying that lead and seeing what that lead wants, all the way to scheduling the appointment.
Wow.
And
That's
so,
amazing.
yeah, yeah, it's saving a lot of time, a lot of effort, right? And so, I mean, the AI is really, I can open up my inbox and see, oh, I have some new appointments this week, some new prospects. And it's not doing the sales part yet, but I'm sure, you
In
know,
the future, yeah, I'm sure I could see it taking over, and being another tool that businesses could use for that, right?
oh, yeah,
I could only speak for myself, but like, as a solo entrepreneur, right? It helps you not have the 20,000 hats that you usually wear, and you're running
right.
around and just, you're accomplishing. But at the end of the day, you get burnt out. You could only do so much. You're one person. So those tools really come in handy.
Hmm.
Like, so let's talk about your business, right? Like, so tell me more about your business and what do you do for businesses? I know you work directly with businesses.
Yeah. So, one thing that I do, um, I work, actually, I'm kind of like a consultant, and I work with businesses and with creatives or individuals who have some kind of skill set. And I offer a number of services, whether it be marketing or sales or scripts, or even now I'm offering like an AI consultation, and seeing where AI can fit within their business, or even just the process that I explained to you. That's something that I like, oh, you want to get an AI to automatically generate your leads? Well, that's something I can help you with. And so, particularly as a consultant, I help in that area, in those niches. But with individuals, let's say there's somebody who's a really skilled photographer or videographer, or really good at they're like in a gym buff or something. They have some kind of credibility within their niche, and maybe they even offer that credibility as a service. Well, something that I do is, what I offer to people in that position is, I help them become a coach within that niche. So instead of just specifically offering their videography service or their cooking service, I help them put together an offer or a package where if there's anybody who's aspiring to be a videographer, aspiring to be that next best chef or whatever it is, really that they've proven to show, that trustworthiness and expertise in, then that's another like supplemental income service that they can offer to potential customers that might be even outside of their client base, or maybe it's maybe they're a former client, like, oh, I used you before, but now I can learn from you,
Right.
and so it's really, to me, I feel like it's a really great opportunity because many of us, are skilled or proven in an area and are in a position to provide value.
Right.
And that's really all it is.
Yeah. And that's an amazing point, right? Like you only have a set amount of hours in the day. So there's so many people you could reach in one day and like work with one-on-one, right? But having the availability to create a program or a course or somewhere where you're still teaching them, but you're not fully committed to that hour, right? It's still there for the person to go over, and you still are giving the knowledge. But that just opened up so much space in your calendar and gives you a chance to monetize on the knowledge that you have.
Right.
So I think that's amazing. That is something that I am looking to do in the near future. So you and I will definitely continue to talk about that. I know we've mentioned this on previous calls that we've had before, but that is, how I said, there's only enough time for you to do certain things. For me, I'm working, I'm handling other people's social media businesses, and that could be a source of income that there's going to be obviously work that you need to do to get there, right? But once I'm done with it, that's just going to be oh my goodness.
Revenue?
Yes, it's going to be a revenue, but it's just oh my goodness. I'm having a hard time with that word. English was not my first language.
Okay.
Oh my God. I can't think of the word. I'm just going to.
Passive?
We're just going to. No. Generate. Oh my God. Generate.
Oh, generate. Yeah.
It's just going to be generating all this money, right? Without you having to do it. You're going to do the initial legwork, and then it's just going to get better, right? It's just going to be something that's on the side and you don't have to think about it.
Right.
So I think it's a great way for businesses to bring in more money in the door, and just by itself, just do the work. So that's awesome. And so how did you get started? Like, what was your first, I guess, entrepreneur journey, or where did you start?
Yeah, that's a good question, because I don't really come from a business background. I actually come from a traditional, like, college education. I got my degree in software engineering. And so I was just, and it's been great. That was a great career choice. I was able to really make some good money as a software engineer. And, I got to a point, it's like, okay, this is great, but this isn't, if I want to get to a place of like, whoa, like another level, where I can say, oh, I'm a millionaire in liquidity, not just in assets, right? Or multimillionaire. And then really the desire for that is because, the more resources you have, the more impact you can make. That's really my why. And so I started thinking, well, there's only so much you can make as a salary for an employee. And kind of like with the NFT project, it's like, okay, if I really want to capitalize on the opportunity, I have to make my own. And so in the same way, if I really want to capitalize on income and assets and revenue, I'm going to have to step out and do my own thing, right?
Right.
And
So what was
so
that
that's
first step that took you out of the software world?
yeah. So I looked into different things, and the first thing that I stepped into was actually real estate driven, and I'm still involved with it. And I put together a platform that generates leads for lenders and realtors. So I put together a platform, and one thing that I tried to do, I was like, okay, where's the pain point in a particular industry? And I forgot what I was doing, but I discovered that many of the leads that realtors and lenders get are not really qualified. Maybe they just have their name or their email. But one thing that my platform does that none other that I'm aware of can do is it pre-qualifies that lead and runs a soft credit check on that lead, and can't legally share the credit score, but we can place them in a category based on their credit. So it would either be bronze, silver, gold, or platinum. And so it would do that. And so they'd be like, oh, there's a lead available and it's a gold lead. So their credit score is from here to here. So the chances of you being able to work with that person are much stronger. So, and yeah, so I feel like that was a really good capability. And I focus on the really only the SoCal market. Definitely opportunities to expand, but as an entrepreneur, I'm kind of, they say you want to have 7 streams of income or so, right? And so I began stepping out into other things, and I think the next thing I did was actually the NFT project thing, and so I stepped out into doing that, and then is from there is when I began to realize, I'm like, oh wow, I'm actually good at a lot of different things, and I can actually help people. Right? People will pay for the information that I can offer. Right. So whether
because
it
you're
was
making
in
their life,
software,
ultimately, you're making their life easier, right? And that's what it's about, making people's pain points go away.
Yeah, helping people, and that's really every business. Like, if the more people that you're helping, the more money that you're making, right? And so I actually started off as an NFT consultant. I helped people with their NFT projects. Maybe they were into NFTs, but they didn't know how to get started with a project. And I was like, well, I've went through the process. I know everything that you have to do. And I'll tell you what, Monica, it was a painful process starting my own NFT project, because it's a pretty crazy world, right? There's no regulation, there's no authority. So
there's no blueprint. You're charting.
No blueprint.
You're charting on your own.
Yes, into the wild.
Yeah, into the wild for sure. There's nobody doing it already. So man, props to you. That's got to be. I mean, I think for you, because you have the software background, might be a little bit easier. But even then, still, how I said, there's no blueprint for you to go off of, so you're just like throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what's going to work, right? But props to you for doing it. That's how you're opening up the path for other people. Because when you learn that, then you're going to be able to guide others. And it's amazing. Your journey is impacting other people along the way. And that's what we're about. That's what it's all about. I think anyways,
Yeah.
that's where it's all about. Um, Helping wherever we can, guiding wherever we can,
Hmm.
and helping our communities to be better every day. So that's amazing. I love that. Um,
Yeah.
and you're on social media too. So are you only doing the in the real estate world? You're just doing the leads. You're not actually doing any real estate investing or anything like that. Or are you also
Well,
doing that?
that's what I'm getting into now. That's what really got me to join the community, is because really everything. So, I my end product, my end idea is all roads lead to real estate.
Mm.
So whatever I'm doing, whether it be the software engineering, the NFT, the gaming, consulting, the goal is to use all of those resources that I get from that to pour into real estate. Because, I mean, real estate is, to me, that's just like the the key or to generational wealth, the most passive type of income that you can really get your hands on. I'm actually in the middle of my first build, or I wouldn't say it's a flip, but I
From
have a
scratch?
home. Not well, yeah, from scratch, kind of. Like I'm going to be adding 3 studios to the lot.
Wow. That's awesome.
And
Congratulations.
yeah, thank you. And it's in a really desirable community here in San Diego. And so that's going to be, my mindset is, man, if I can get 10 of those, right? Let's say, just like with Rob, I mean, Rob said he says he has about 3,000 units under his name. That is massive. If I could have 1% of that, I feel like I'd be all right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. We don't need a
But
whole lot. We don't need 3,000
no.
just to start off. Yeah, that's amazing. I know I'm on the same boat with you right now, where I'm dipping my toe into real estate, right? And I have
Mm-hmm.
zero knowledge of real estate. I mean, like the basics, obviously now. My brother, I'm actually joining this venture with my brother, my younger brother, who has
Mm.
had analysis paralysis, right? He's consumed so much content and he knows all this stuff, but he just hasn't
Yeah.
gotten the courage to like go out there. And it's scary, it's like you don't know what you're doing. And I think we're very fortunate to be able to join a platform with Ryan Pineda, where there's so much guidance and there's, people that you could ask questions. There's a platform where, like a Facebook platform, if you will, where you could communicate with anybody, right? And ask any question
Yeah.
and have just that by itself to be able to reach out when you have a question. It's amazing. Obviously, they're teaching you how to do it as well. But just you could consume content all you want. If you have a question and you don't have the answer to, you're kind of stuck. And I think that's where my brother was at, where it's like, okay, yeah, I got all this info, but I still don't know how to apply it, and
Mm.
this platform really opened it up for us to be able to do that. So we're looking into doing, maybe some wholesaling, maybe some flips if we're able to raise the capital, and going into actually Airbnb arbitrage as well. So we should be
Mm.
going with that. We're hoping to have our first unit with Airbnb in the next, hopefully, month. So we're excited
Look
for
at
that.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think those are the two best investments to get into initially, the wholesaling and the Airbnb, because that's gonna get you some capital. That's gonna get you some cash pretty quickly. Flips or long term holds. That's slow money. It's
Right.
good money,
Yeah.
but it's a little bit slower. And Airbnbs honestly are, man, they make a killing. They make
Yeah.
a killing.
Yeah. Yeah. If
You
if
get the right unit.
y- exactly, you do the right math, the right, research, and you get all your facts straight where you could do it. And that is
Yeah.
definitely something that anybody could do, so, but yeah, just like you said, it's creating those streams of revenue, additional streams of revenue, right, to come in and
Additional,
help
right?
you. And it definitely makes a difference in life, right, to be able to have those. And my goal with that is, I mean, obviously generational wealth, taking care of my mom, most
Hmm.
especially is taking care of my mom. My mom is, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
she's the sweetest person. Like, she is 4'9". She plays basketball.
Okay.
Like,
Wow.
basketball
Really?
at the 24-hour fitness. Um, she's like the hardest working person I've known. Like, everything I've learned as far as my work ethic comes from her. She's an amazing
Wow.
individual. Like, of course, I'm biased, right? But she has the sweetest heart, like greatest heart. She's always like put the other cheek type of person, and always trying to do good
Yeah.
by others. But like, that's my number one reason to be able to do more. And then my second and most important one, it's I've always loved mental health. And
Okay.
I, for some reason or another, just I never was able to complete that route. And I wanted to be a marriage and family therapist, but it's just like
Oh,
it just didn't.
really?
Yeah, it didn't. So I studied psychology.
Okay.
I've had different things. I actually was a firefighter before, and I got
Wow.
yeah, I got injured. And after I got injured, I went back to school for psychology. But it was just going to
Okay.
take, like, just getting your hours is like a 4-year commitment of just getting your hours. So it's just so much time.
Wow.
And my path was deviated, with the injury. So that's why I was like,
Hmm.
well, do I really want to commit 4 years, or do I do something else? Right. So my goal with some of the income that's going to be coming in is to create a nonprofit, for like mental health, to just be able to have that for the community and for people to get in there and get the help that they need, that they can't afford. If you want to go to
Hmm.
therapy, like, $100 or
Yeah.
200, depending where you're at. And yeah, there's programs where, based on income, but even then, it's just like you're joining a waiting list. And, I just want to
Hmm.
be able to have that for the community to go in there and be able to have those resources. And we have such a disconnect with mental health and how it affects our
Yeah.
lives, and how everything that we've encountered in our lives have some type of impact and we don't see it, and I think this will
Hmm.
help people live better lives, happier lives. So that is my number two. But that's what I want to do with
Wow.
my income that comes from there. Of course, take care of myself and obviously, but like,
Hmm.
that's really what's driving it. I've always been very passionate about mental health, and um, unfortunately, I couldn't get there and be the one sitting on that chair and helping people in that
Hmm.
manner. But I want to be able to provide that for somebody in a different capacity. So
Yeah. Well, that's beautiful. That's awesome. And it's cool because my wife is actually on the road to getting her MFT.
is she? That's awesome. In San Diego?
Yeah. At Azusa.
Okay, okay. Azusa
It's
Pacific.
but
Awesome.
yeah. Yeah, it's exactly right there. And so um yeah, and I think it's really cool because maybe that's not what you're doing now, but maybe you'll get to a place to where you'll be able to free up some time, and who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
Things can always seasons can always change, but it's so true what you're saying. And like, I'm part of a ministry where our mission is to reach people who come out of some of the most terrible situations with either like gang violence or
Mhm.
drug addiction or alcohol violence, prostitution, like just really dark places, hopeless situations.
Right.
And we come and we come with hope and let them know that their life does matter, that that they can still be all that God's called them to be, and be, contributing members of society. And it's a blessing to see, people come from just down and out to becoming a homeowner, a businessman, or even a pastor, or just, in a much better place, and but what we see, it's, like there's an epidemic of like mental health, not just with drugs and alcohol, but there's, you know, people who are depressed and suicidal, and in this place of defeat and hopelessness. And I think I actually saw a meme a couple of years ago, and it was a meme with two pictures, right? And on one side, it said what what I thought depression looks like, and it was a guy wearing all black, and like, and just, kind of like an emo rocker kind of goth
Right.
person. And then it showed next to that what depression really looks like. And it was a guy at the beach with his sunglasses on, and like looks like he's having a great time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's the reality. There's so many people, and I was actually one of those people myself. I was that guy where everything looked great on the outside. Everything looked like I was having a good time, but there was deep pain and deep hurting in me. And there's a lot of people who are walking around with that. I think even back then when I was experiencing that, it was more of a stigma. I think it still kind of is,
Yeah.
but I think that stigma's starting to go away, because people are beginning to realize, hey, it's hitting closer to home. My cousin's going through it. My daughter's going through it. My spouse is going through it. It's real, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think especially, and I don't know your community, but like Hispanic community, it was just very much like, yeah, you only see a therapist when you're crazy, right? Like that's the only moment. And
Right.
if, so
Oh
it was
yeah.
it was very looked down upon. And I'm glad that it is in that way now, because
hmm
people could finally feel comfortable enough to be able to reach out and get the help that they need, and sometimes it's just, life happening, right? Like, just like you went through a period of where you didn't feel good, right? Like there's things that happen in our lives that sometimes they're out of our control. Like for me, I went through a period like that when, through, because of my back injury, right? I had my back injury with the fire department. I had surgery, and the surgery wasn't successful. And now I have issues with like my left foot. I don't have full control of my left foot. So I have what is called a drop foot. And like mentally, that is tough. I'm 36 years old. I'm very young to be having this kind of issues. And I live in pain
Yeah.
every day. So like if I don't have myself correct, like that could take you to a very dark place. And so me going through that, I mean, even before that, I had the mentality of like, we need to help people. But like going through that is like, sometimes it doesn't have to be an abuse. It doesn't have to be like this major thing, but it is a major thing for you in your life, not being able to
Right.
be a normal person and exercise and do all this stuff, and not being able to do that, like that has a psychological effect on your mind. And as much as we want to just push past it, at some point it's going to sit you down and have a talk with you, and take you to a place where you might not want to be, but it will take you that way because you're not listening to yourself. You're not listening to where you're hurting, and processing that, hey, you're not this person anymore, and that's okay. This is the new version of yourself, and we just have to evolve with that new level of person that you are, right? But if you don't have the
Yeah.
tools and you've never been taught and everything just gets shoved down and not dealt with, of course you're not going to be resilient and be able to take anything in, you know? And so getting those tools
Hmm.
through those people is very, very important.
And it takes it takes courage to actually look at that, to confront that darkness, to confront that thing, and not, submit to it, but rise above it, right? Because it's easy just to be the victim and like, oh, woe is me. But it takes a strong mind and disciplined mind, and really it takes a community. And not everybody has that place or has the mental strength to get up from
Mm-hmm.
that place. People are stuck, people are hurting, and people need help. That's why it's so crucial that there are, people who are making themselves available to tend to these needs and to give hope. Um,
And to create
I'm not.
community, you know, I think to create community is so important. I volunteer with this nonprofit called Neutral Grounds, right? And they deal with a
Mm,
lot of gang related
mm,
youth, and they create a safe space for them to come in, and they're there, you know, guiding them, and they have boxing programs and just over the summer programs and mentoring programs. um, and one of the times that I went to volunteer to the boxing club, there was this guy, you know, and so at the end of every boxing lesson, right? Um, that we sit down in a circle and we share a positive word for the day, right?
oh,
And um, we were talking about family, right? And
mm,
something that family brought to, like, something positive that our family brought to us, right? And there was this
okay.
one kid, and he didn't want to speak, and he was just like, I don't know what to say. And then he said, I don't know what to say, I don't have a family, right?
Oh,
um so ooh, that was like deep, right?
wow.
Like you don't have a
Yeah.
family, so it's even more important to have a community, right? To be able to have people and programs like that, or other programs that substitute in for those people lacking that, right? Like I feel for me, my mother, how I said, my mother was just has been an amazing person, right? So when I
Mm,
was in that dark place, sorry, when I was in that dark place, she was the person that kept me away from that, right? Because, oh, I'm sorry.
mm,
She was the one that kept me away from there, because I had somebody. But for somebody that doesn't have that and doesn't have a community, how much more easy is it for them to just check out, you know, and just
yeah.
not care, and
Hmm.
or to resort to drugs and to get lost in the drugs, right? So
Right.
yeah, it's so important to have that community. It's it hits very close to home for me for that. When I heard that kid, I'm just like,
Yeah.
oof, yeah. But
Mm,
sorry about
no.
that. Whew,
No, no, that's
I'm a
okay.
very sensitive person too, so it does not help. Uh,
Yeah, no, well, you have to be if in the MFT, counseling field. There, you got to be able to understand, people's needs and their hurts, and be able to come and facilitate healing. So much trauma and things that people have gone through, like like the young boy you just mentioned. I mean, that's a reality for so many people. There's gaps, there's trauma, there's all kinds of stuff. And I actually, I'm really thankful, because um I could have been caught up in different stuff growing up, but I, you know I loved basketball. I played basketball myself,
Oh.
and basketball really kept me away. It kept me away from a lot of the things that my peers or things were getting involved in. They were in fighting or getting involved with, really just stupid stuff, gang related violence, girls, and all that kind of just getting caught up in really ruining their lives at a young age.
Mm.
And basketball really kept me, and I really thank God, kept me away from a lot of things. So people, like you said, people need community, or that's why I love there's a nonprofit that I know they're always trying to give events to, like, in the what do you call it? I guess you can say the ghetto or
Mhm.
low income, or
Right.
at risk youth. There you go, at
Right.
risk youth
I even think that
areas.
word
And
has been like also obsolete. I can't remember what the new term is, but
oh, there's a
yeah,
newer term.
there's a newer term. I can't remember at the top of my head, but yeah, I understand.
Yeah, and they their mission is to go in and take in those kids and really help put them on a path to success. Work with them, because maybe the family's not there. Maybe they're in troubled areas, and
Mhm.
they can either get them on a sports track or an academic track, and really be a mentor and a guide. And I think that's really what is missing in much of our society is healthy leadership, healthy guides. And a lot of that, I mean, if that's not in the family, there's going to be a breakdown. There's going to be a breakdown, and if we can't find it elsewhere, well, that's where the the darkness and stuff can come in, right? That the
Definitely.
mental health stuff.
Yeah, no,
Heavy
definitely. I mean,
topic.
huh?
Heavy stuff.
Heavy stuff. That's for sure. Yeah, it definitely needs to be more of a light needs to be on that topic, because I think for people that don't come from that background, it's so easy to say, "Oh well, they could have, should have done whatever," you know. But
Right.
I grew up in poverty, and I mean we had it rough. We grew so I actually was born here, but I left here when I was 2 years old, and I
Okay.
came back when I was 12, 13, and my mom came with, it was her 3 kids came here. My dad always lived here, and we lived over there, and she left them right away, like as soon as we got here.
Hmm.
And I remember the first year we moved around 8 times, right?
Wow.
And we ended up going to a family member's garage, and my uncle had like a bed, like a twin bed. It was all four of us that slept in there. My mom
Wow.
worked all night long. She worked 2 jobs, and it was hard. It's like there's people living those lives now, so,
Yeah.
but if you don't have that information, you just think people are just not trying hard enough, right? When that's not always the case. There it is some in some
Yeah.
cases, right? I do agree with that. But in some cases it's just like people were dealt a bad hand and they're doing the best that they can. And I
Mm.
think for those people we really need to figure out how to give them a better support and better resources to help them,
Right.
but yeah, and I think with social media and um the technology that we have today, it's so much easier to actually see the light of these things, right? And
Yeah.
become educated and make educated
Mm.
statements and decisions on certain topics. So, but I really love that I'm not like I don't have a denomination. I grew up Catholic. Then I was
Mm.
I practiced Buddhism for a while. And but I think it's very beautiful that with your, ministry, you're able to touch people too in that way. And like, what has that been for you in your journey with that?
Yeah, it's really that's really my mission. I've come to a place to where even, like, we're talking about with like our business and real estate and stuff, like all of that is really just to help me to help them more, right? To
Mm,
help me get to a place to where I can help more people. And because it's yeah, it's without that, the world can seem pretty hopeless, pretty dark, and but it takes, somebody to rise up and stand in the gap and be like, no, no, there is hope. There is hope. You are seen. You do have a chance. You do matter. Your life is of significance. You are
mm,
not a mistake. I mean, life, may have been dealt you a hard hand, but this isn't the end. Your story is still being written. There's still much more to the
mm,
story. And, I think of one of the most inspirational stories is that of Condoleezza Rice. Um,
mm,
she was she was part of the, I believe, George Bush's White House cabinet, and she she should not have been she should not be who she is. So we can say it like that. She came from one of the most challenging backgrounds, one of the most challenging upbringings, and it really is just her story is one of truly like oh man, there's hope for me too. Like
mhm.
Condoleezza can rise to that level of success, then there's a chance. There's a
Yeah.
chance. I just got to get around some of the right people, make some good decisions. And so really is just putting myself in a position where um, other people can, you know, make better decisions, not just accept what's there, maybe what's right in front of them, but going to that place of hopelessness and darkness and say, hey, there's another way.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
another way. You don't have to go this way. I know the whole neighborhood is going this way. I know everybody, but you don't have to do that. There's another way.
All right.
And just bringing hope
Yeah.
in that regard.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love to hear that. The people are so that there's still kind people in the world. There is a lot of
Mm,
people that are self-serving, and um, the world just revolves around them, right? And they don't have the time to
mhm.
think of others. So it's beautiful to see those people that still do care about others, and not in a, oh, you give me this, I give you that type of relationship, or
Yeah.
like still self-serving, right? But just do it for the greater good. So, and I think we need more people like that in today's world. um
Yeah,
but
there's a saying. It says you want to change the world, start with yourself, and then one life at a time, right?
Oh yes, that's for sure. That's for sure. We can pour from an empty cup. That's for sure.
Hmm.
But then sometimes people don't even know they're empty. That's the other issue. It's not knowing
Mm.
that you're. Sometimes we dish out all this, advice, but we're really not taking it in. And I think in my younger years I also did that. But it's just like you can't pour from an empty cup. You have to take care of you,
Hmm.
take care of you mentally, emotionally. Um, financially, right? And then you could help others around you, and be that leader, or that
Mm.
that person that they could come
Mentor.
to. Yeah. So yeah, it's very important. But going back to your business, I know that for you to be, so how long have you been in business, by the way?
Well, with everything, I would say I'm a bit newer, really. I would say within the last, what is it, 2023. I would say like the last 4 years, 3 to 4 years is when I began to step out and not just do a typical career, but step out and to start creating additional streams of income. And, you know, along the journey, something I like to say is, because many times I do things and I'm just stepping out and seeing what happens. I like to say you kind of build a plane as you're flying it, and you kind of figure it out as you get along. And the more you do things, the more you learn. So there's definitely things that I would probably do over. Um, like what I'm learning now is just the importance of, and you kind of know this, but you don't really understand just how valuable and necessary it is the importance of having a mentor, having a coach, having somebody who in your life who can give you guidance, who is where you want to be,
Mm. Yeah.
right? Talking from a place that can talk to you from a place of experience, not just something they read out of a book, not just something they read on social media, but no, their life is speaking to me. And now
Right.
being able to connect with them, connect with a mentor, that's, if there was anything that I would incorporate earlier, it's that. It
Right.
was that. And yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny because a lot of people focus on the money value attached to that, right? They're like, well, a mentor is going to cost X, Y, and Z, but how much more is it going to cost you not to have that mentor, right?
Mm,
Like, how much sooner are you going to get to that place of making more money, or being better at whatever it is that you're trying to do? How much is it holding you back? Like, yeah, there's the monetary value to it, but how much more value does it bring to the table, and does it offset it, right? And just like you said, getting the right coaches, the right mentors will take you to that step and get you ahead of the game. But if you're closed off to the idea of like somebody coming in and teaching you, or sometimes it's not even that, but it's also the ego of like, I know how to do it. We have to let that go and know that
mm-hmm.
there is, if you're not at the top of the food chain, you're not the best at it, and that's okay. Just let go of that ego and trust in somebody that is doing it, and like, how much value can you gain from them? So that is like such an understatement, that somebody that's doing it and is out there and is at the top of the food chain will teach you what you are not doing right and why you are not there yet. Yet is the key word, right? So
Like even somebody that's at the top of the food chain is going to understand the importance of having a mentor, right? And you can't go where you've never been. And there's this thing called the law of exposure. You can't even, if you haven't been exposed to a certain level of thinking, a certain way of perceiving, then that's why you have to, if you're the biggest fish in the room, you got to get into a bigger room.
yeah,
It's time for a bigger room, right?
I
You got
love
to get
that.
around bigger minds and get around people who are further along than you, because there's, just like you said, I mean, if um, you're not open, if you're not willing to, you know, what do you say? If what what are you missing out by not paying, right? Why?
Right.
What are you? I forgot how you worded it, but
Yeah, what
like
are you,
not the
yeah, pretty much what
cost,
are you, like, what are you missing, like, not what are you missing, but what how are you losing out pretty much on by not
right? You're
knowing the
missing out.
knowledge that you will get from somebody.
Hmm.
So yeah, that is so important. And I see you online all the time. I see you putting that content and being online, and I think that's another important aspect of being a business owner, right? Especially in today's
Hmm.
um, times. We just I mean, it's part of the technology, right? Like we were talking about earlier. It's just like something that we have to grow and not dig our heels in, and just grow with the technology, right? But secondly, I think
Hmm.
it's very important because it's free marketing. If you really think about it, if you're doing it in house, it's free exposure. Like all these companies before, they had to pay top dollar to be able to get the exposure that we're getting through social media for free. So taking advantage of yet another tool, technology tool, it's so important for businesses. For you, when you started, like what was your social media strategy, like challenges? What was that like for you starting? Like, were you one of those people that didn't want to get online? Like, what was your experience with social media?
Yeah, I was the guy that, even like with my other businesses, I was the guy, I never wanted to be like associated with it.
Mm,
I wanted to be behind the scenes, like, okay, not my face, just here's the brand, we'll push the brand. And really, I've been unlearning and relearning, had to unlearn and relearn a lot. And, you know, um, just like we see with Ryan Pineda and even people like Mr. Beast, like they are the brand. They are the brand. You build up your personal brand, you build up yourself, then people are gonna, want to be a part of anything that you do. That's why, I have no idea any of the businesses that Mr. Beast has or his followers. They probably don't know the businesses, but they know Mr. Beast. Maybe we don't know what the 10 plus different companies that Ryan has, but we know who he is. And because we know who he is, we're going to get behind, like, oh, whatever he does, it's going to probably do well because I know who he is. And
right.
so the idea of just really, because even when I began creating content, I was in this place of, well, should I create a separate Instagram? Should I create a different thing? And it's like, and I think that's one way to do it, but the other way is just to put everything out there on, because you're building yourself. And I like the where is it, Ryan
Margin,
Magan
Imagine
Margin
something. Imagine,
Magin.
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah, really, his content strategy changed my strategy because before I was putting out probably 80% niche based content, which could get old after a while.
Hmm.
But I began to flip that. And now I'm putting out probably 75% kind of like unniched, I guess you can say, like more personal or just other stuff. So people can connect with me like as an individual, connect
Right.
with me as a person. And then because, people are emotional, we're emotional
Hmm.
beings, we desire connection, we desire community. That's why, I mean, depression is usually the result of isolation, right? People
Yeah.
aren't meant to be alone. And, so I'm putting out more content like that of just stories or experiences that I've had in my life. And then 20% is the niche based, the business based. And, just getting better as I do it, attending seminars and conferences and coaching calls, but nothing really beats consistency, honestly.
Yeah.
Improvement, if you want to improve, you got to be consistent. Because I can honestly say, because I really got serious with content actually starting this year, the beginning of the year. Before, I would post very irregularly, maybe once a month, if that.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
but I got really really serious with content because content is now the business model. It's not just something I do for fun. This is work.
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the content is like the engine.
Definitely. And you touched on so many good points, like what you said about that connection, right? I think it's so important, and people don't understand the importance of that, right? Like it's not you're just there. A lot of companies, I think, or a lot of businesses have this mentality that you're going there to just advertise the way that it's been known to advertise, right? Like you just put your info and that's it. Like it's just going to bring you people. And that is not the way it goes. It's like you're forming a relationship. And the way you do that is just like you said, creating those 75% or 50%, whatever you want it, whatever it is that you feel comfortable with, right? But sharing your persona, your day to day, the things that are part of your life, and just giving them an insight. And by no means do you have to be, because there's some people to all the way to the left where there's no filter, right? You don't have to be those people, but you could share your life and your experiences and how you work and all these things that would help you. Like think of it as you're meeting this person and you're creating a relationship with this person, and that's what it comes down to. The reason why Mr. Beast is as successful as he is because he has created this relationship with people, right? And that is, that's what it comes down to. And just like Alex Hormozy said, it's like content is king. It's like that's what is about. Content is the new marketing of today's era. And if you're not there, you're missing out, and you're not relevant. You're not so. But when it comes to like goals, what is your goal for social media, or do you have any goals for social media?
Yeah. Well, my goal this year was to post, well, not 7 days a week, but 5 days a week.
Nice.
So this year, and I've been pretty good. That's been the goal. Had a little bit of sickness that came up that kind of threw me off a bit, but getting past that, I've been pretty consistent with getting content out every day. And like I was saying, you get better as you do it. I can look back at the content I was posting in January, and I'm like, oh man, I've taken it to another level. You can see the difference in quality. You can see the difference in tone, and feel more comfortable. And so yeah, my goal with that is to continue being consistent. And I have a follower count goal as well. I'm hoping to get to 10,000. I mean, I think that's. I think it can happen quickly. You just need one or two reels to pop off. But for me, it's kind of been like this slow and steady wins the race kind of thing, not like this
Definitely.
overnight sensation
Yeah.
success. I would love to have that, but hasn't been my my turn. And but one thing that I have really tried to do is really understand the value of a follower. You think of a follower, like if somebody walks into your coffee shop, your mom and pop coffee shop, you're going to greet them. You're going to say, welcome, welcome to my coffee shop, and really cater to them because you want them to come back, right? Coming back for more. So that's why it's so important, the content that people can connect with you and through the stories. One thing that I actually want to start doing that I haven't done yet, I'm going to implement this probably in this latter half of the year, is content that like asks people to do something for a prize of some sort. Like, oh, I'm partnering with this one, maybe comment and share to 3 people and like do 3
Like the raffles.
tags.
Okay.
Yeah, like a
Yeah.
raffle. I mean, you see different brands and things doing it. I'm like, oh, I could
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
I could partner with people and we can do a little, and that's people like, oh, cool, I can win something. Oh, I'm a part of something. And,
Right.
and so that's something I'm going to look to start doing as well.
Nice. I like that. And I really like what you pointed out. It's like you said you are committing to five posts a week, right? I think there's a
Mm-hmm.
super big misconception of like, oh, okay, what does being successful on social media mean? And I think it ultimately comes down to the person, right? It's like, how much time do you have to commit to it? If it's 2 reels a week or 3 reels a week, or fine if you have time for the 7, right? But if you're just starting off, like just like you said, you did one a month, that probably wasn't enough, right? But I mean, if you commit to like at least 2 reels or 2 videos, right, a week, that's more than you were doing before. And like, don't
Mm-hmm.
get into this expectation of like, oh, I have to be doing what this person is doing because that's what success looks
Yeah.
like. Just do what is right for you, and get the ball started. And just like you said, slow and steady wins the race. And that's the most important thing. Um, and then once you get that ball rolling, then you could get into maybe doing a little bit more and starting to
Mm-hmm.
track, and starting to do the engagement and everything that comes with social media, or figuring out where do you need to get a mentor for that, or whatever it is, right? But just like getting your toe in the water and just starting to do some of that, I think is very important for businesses to survive. Really.
Yeah. And actually, you saying that reminds me about the algorithm, and apparently, and I think it's true because I'm beginning to see it, but like in order for the algorithm to understand you and to understand what kind of people like your content, you have to post more content.
Mm-hmm.
So the algorithm knows, okay, this is their niche. Let's try pushing it to these people. Oh, they liked it. Okay, let's push more this content to more of these people. Oh, they like that too. Okay, we're going to push all your content to these people. And it's
Right.
like the more that you're posting, the more that the algorithm kind of gets to know you and
Right.
understands what you're offering. And then based off the engagement, they understand what the people are looking for. And then it
Right.
just kind of goes from there. And I've seen posts kind of just do progressively better as I do. I haven't hit like, a million or 100,000 or anything. But I've gotten pretty good. I've gotten like in the 10,000s and 20,000s, and um, still looking for the 100,000 in the mill. But you just, whether it comes or not, I'm just staying committed to what I decided that I set out to do this year. And I think that's the most important thing. As long as you stay true to what you set out to do, and but still strive to do more as well.
Right. And I think another thing with that is just because you're not getting the follower, right? Or the view count or whatever it is, it doesn't mean it's not working, right? Like you're saying,
Yeah.
you're still getting those leads in through the door. So
Mm-hmm.
like don't focus on because I think for the business owners that I've dealt with, it's like, oh well, how do we get more followers? Or they fall into the trap of like buying followers, which is like, don't do it. Let's just put it out
Don't
there.
do it.
Don't do it. You're going to ruin your account with that. But don't get stuck on that. You know, if you're seeing growth in the way that it actually matters, which is gaining clients, then
Right.
that is growth. It doesn't have to reflect on a number or comments or likes. So because sometimes, you know, you might hear something, or you don't even follow that person, and you still will make business with them because you learned about them, right? And you just haven't gotten
Mm-hmm.
around to following them, or whatever might be the case. So just don't discard it as it's not working because I
Yeah.
don't see it reflecting on numbers, right? Because it doesn't technically, like from what I've gathered, you know, that might have changed a bit, and it's no longer the case. There's like the reflection of your followers is what how well you're doing. So yeah, very important.
Absolutely.
So
So
but
true.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we're coming to the end of our podcast here, and I love to do a rapid fire round with 5 questions,
Okay.
and
That's
you just,
cool.
you know, tell me whatever comes to mind and whatever your experience is with that.
Yeah.
So the first question is, and I think you might have touched on it, but you know, in case you have a different thing, um, it says one thing you wish you knew when you started your journey, right? And
One
I
thing
think
I
you
wish I
touched on it
knew.
already, but
I
in
touched
case
on
you
it
want
a
to
little
add to
bit.
it, yeah, about the coach. So
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think that's really the thing, honestly. I could have saved some time and some effort. I think even if you don't, like, maybe you don't know where to find one or you can't afford one, like, it's better do something. Do something. Don't do anything. Don't be like analysis paralysis. But for sure, if I could go back, and anything that I would recommend to somebody getting, early on, or not even early on, just wherever they're at, have a mentor, have somebody in your life that has been where you want to be. Not somebody who, hasn't been there. They can't talk to it, but somebody who has been where you want to be. Those are the voices you want speaking into your life. Those are the voices of credibility and authority. And just be humble and open. I mean, it's okay. We all need help. They needed help one day before, and guess what? They still need help today, right? It's a journey. It's and you want to get to somewhere quicker than have those people in your life. That's definitely what I
I
would
love
say.
that. I love that. Yeah, I agree 100%. My next question is, what is the most challenging project you have ever worked on, and what did it teach you?
Without even hesitation, I can say my NFT project, because it was I learned a lot. I learned how to deal with people. I I learned how to deal with corruption. I actually was ripped off
Oh
and
no.
taken advantage of, in a sense, and lost a lot of money. The project almost died. It could have died, but through I learned a lot, even that kind of took me to a kind of dark place, like, oh my
Mm.
gosh, this is hopeless. Like I got all this money, and now, the people that I was working with, that I was entrusting to build this game, they ripped me off, right? Instead of, what they did was, is they, instead of building me out the game that I was asking, they actually just copy pasted some other game. And I paid a good amount of
Oh,
money
right.
for
I can
that, and there
imagine.
wasn't much I could do except count my losses and, see what I could do to resurrect the project and keep it going. So I learned a lot of resilience. We don't learn in the good times. We really learn in the hard times. Thank God for the hard times, because it's the hard times that build us, that equip us, that test us and get us ready for what's up ahead.
Yeah.
And yeah, so during that time where I could have said, throw in the towel, I learned a lot. I learned tenacity, like I said, resilience, and um, uh, just really willpower, just willing something forward, not giving up, but really just pushing myself past my limits, and past my, not my failures, but a shortcoming. I definitely know not what to do. I learned what not to do. I learned things, and and that's what life is. You learn. Failure is, you just learn what not to do next time.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
love that.
so,
I'm sorry you had to go through that. It's
yeah.
unfortunate, but I am a big believer that, everything happens there. Everything that happens for us is teaching us something, and as
Hmm.
hurtful and painful as some of those things are, like it was there to give you some type of knowledge, and obviously it did, and that's the best
Yeah.
way to look at it too, just what what did it teach you. So I'm sorry that you had to go through that
Yeah.
though. I'm sure it was not easy, and but
Yeah.
you're here now, and it's
Hmm.
your project. I can't wait to see what you do with that and learn more about that. So
Yeah.
that's amazing. Um, what would you say is like the best piece of advice that you ever received as an entrepreneur?
Best piece of it, man. That's a big one. Best piece of advice I received as from an entrepreneur. I would say, don't, well, yeah, I'd say this, don't get too caught up in one thing. We can probably get really, tunnel visioned and stovepiped to one thing, and that can be good, but it could also be limiting, especially if the one thing you're working on isn't working.
Mm,
Find what works, and kind of, if in order to find what works, you got to try different things. You got to
yeah.
try different things, and step out, and like throwing spaghetti in the wall. Some stuff's gonna stick, some stuff's not, and you kind of just go from there. What stuck for somebody else might not stick for you.
Mm, yeah.
So that's really the journey of entrepreneurship. There's no, like, recipe for success. I mean, yeah, there's principles, but everybody's journey is going to look very different. And the journey's so key. You just got to keep doing it, because it's through the ups and downs, through the failures, through the mistakes, you're going to learn a lot. Something else I tell people is, success isn't what you have, it's who you are.
Mm,
Success is not a process of attaining,
mm,
but becoming.
yeah.
Becoming that best version of yourself, becoming that person that can, weather the storms, that can, take the setbacks and still press forward, and all the things that, you know help you get to where you need to be. We need that, because
Yeah.
that's what helps prepare us for the weight of success on the other side, right?
Yeah.
So
And if you
yeah.
learn that, right, and you get that, whatever it is, nobody could take it away, regardless. Like, let's just say it did,
Mhm.
for whatever reason, your business failed. Guess
Right.
what? You could, with that knowledge, you could turn around and do a new business, right? That nobody could take that away from you.
Exactly.
So, most definitely.
True.
Um, and most satisfying aspect of what you do.
Most satisfying aspect of what I do. Well, I would say it's just, I get to help people. I'm not in doing any kind of get rich quick scheme. Um, I kind of said it earlier, whoever's helping the most people is making the most money. Um, and that's something that I want to do. How if I can help people think better, or plan better, or inspire people to do something that maybe they've failed at before, or they've been thinking about it too long, and maybe I say something in a quick 30-second reel that gets them to finally get up and take action. That's awesome. Like,
Yeah.
to be able to know that I can help somebody become and do the things that they're called to do, and become that person that they're called to be. Man, there's what's better than that? That's amazing, to be like,
Yeah.
oh man, I'm blessed that I could do that for a
Mm-hmm.
person. And with
Yeah.
social media, you never really know how many people you're doing that for.
Yeah.
Maybe the person you did that for doesn't even follow you, or didn't even like the post.
Mm-hmm.
But you never know what you're going to do. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely helping people maximize their life's impact.
That's beautiful. Yeah. To that effect, just social media and the knowledge that people put out there, just like you said, you don't have to like the post. You might just grab the information and apply it. And that is, I think, the most beautiful thing about social media. You might
Mm,
never know how many people you impacted, but you have. So,
yeah.
yeah. And the last question for you, and the reason why I asked this question is because I hope that through my podcast, new entrepreneurs that are out there thinking about getting started, or are like on the fence about starting a business, or people like you, right, that went to school and maybe they don't want to follow that anymore. Like, just what is one message that you would give for new entrepreneurs? Like, if you had a message, what would it be for them?
Keep doing stuff. Keep doing stuff. Keep failing. Right? If just like in basketball, I learned a lot playing basketball. I learned a lot of principles and life lessons. And one thing I learned about playing basketball: the more times I shoot, the better chance I have to make it the next time.
Mm.
So if I keep shooting, I may miss 5 times in a row, but that sixth time, I'm going to be a bit closer. If I miss it that sixth time, well, that seventh or eighth time, my chances are better than the second or third time.
Right.
So don't be afraid to shoot. If you miss, shoot again,
Yeah.
right? Of course, while you're shooting, do so responsibly, with wisdom. Don't, ruin your life, or, do so responsibly. But don't let the fact that you missed that shot keep you from shooting again, because the more you do it, the greater the greater the odds you have of making that next one. Because eventually you're going to make one. And
Right.
sometimes all you need to make is one.
Yeah. Yeah. You never know how many it's going to take. That's the other thing, right? Like if you give up
Mm-hmm.
right before the time that it was going to actually take you there, it's like you just never know. So well said.
Right.
Julien, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate your time, your knowledge, and everything you've shared with me, how much you've opened up with me. I appreciate it. Where can people find you if they want to learn more about what you do or get in contact with you? Where can they find you?
Yeah. Well, a couple of ways. Probably the easiest way is from my Instagram account, at Julien_Cameron, Julien with an E. And you can shoot me a message, and we can dialogue, or you can find me on my website, juliencameron.com. Some more information about me on there as well. Different platforms, Facebook, YouTube, and all that stuff. But if you want to try to get in touch with me, Instagram is going to be probably the easiest way.
Nice. Well, there you guys have it. Um, thank you so much for all the listeners out there today. I really appreciate you. If you guys are ready to take your online presence to the next level, join us here at the Sphere of Influence podcast as we dive into fascinating conversations with industry experts, successful entrepreneurs, and creative minds to give you insider tips and inspire you in your entrepreneurial way. So, if you found this episode helpful, and please share it with people, like it, and thank you so much for listening again. We'll see you on the next one.